Today's episode is brought to you by Audible. Squat wisely with a brand new audiobook. Visit http://www.audibletrial.com/squat and get a free audiobook with your 30-day trial membership.
She is a passionate philosophy professor,
fitness professional,
and motivational speaker. She helps strengthen the body, but she also helps strengthen the mind.
The mind?
The mind. For well over a decade, she has led philosophy courses within the university system of Georgia.
She leads group fitness classes in Atlanta,
as well as leading one-on-one personal training sessions. Let's all squat wisely with Kristen Hester.
Friends, hello once again, and welcome to another episode of Squat Wisely. I hope that when you are hearing this message that you are well, in great health within your mind, your body, and I hope that you are happy and joyous as you listen to this today. I want to talk about kindness today, kindness. And I want to use a quote from Plato. Now, there is a question mark with this quote. There is some debate on whether or not Plato is actually the person who made this popular, but most of my resources credit this quote to Plato, so I'm going to pretty much just say it's Plato. But again, just know there is a question mark. But more so than who said these words, the words of the quote is what's most important to me today. And the quote basically says, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle." Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle. I really like that quote in particular because the distinction that it makes about for everyone that you meet, for me, that has a lot to do with really when you're out in public and you come in contact with random and various strangers, you really never know anyone's journey, anyone's story. You don't know what people are dealing with as you are traveling with them on the highways, as you're shopping with them in the stores. You have no idea what some people are dealing with. Some of it could be wonderful joys. Some of it could be something that's very traumatizing. There are some people who could even be at the point of just being close to suicide. And you really have no idea what is going on with people. I mentioned before on a different episode how with some of my students, if I have the capability to control the assignments, one of the assignments that I like to do with students is a random act of kindness assignment. And this quote really reminds me of the kindness of strangers, the random kindness of strangers, the randomly showing courtesy or concern for someone out in the street who you may not even know. I actually have a story that was very powerful for me to encounter that I'm going to share here shortly. And I just really want you to stay tuned, and I want you to really reflect on just being kind and how we can find more opportunities to express kindness. And for us to even be more mindful of it, even when we're out and about and going about our day, running our errands, to really think about the fact that the nice person who may have smiled at you in line today, or the person who, helped you with your order at Starbucks, they could be dealing with something that's so serious that they could be contemplating suicide. They could have just dealt with a very traumatic loss. They may be hungry and don't know where their next meal is coming from. You just never know. And so I hope this show will give us all an opportunity, this is myself included, to kind of get our minds off of ourselves and our close friends and our loved ones for a moment and just kind of replace it with thoughts for someone else. The someone else's that we rarely take notice of. The someone else's who may be in desperate need for attention, but we're too busy to notice. I want this show to give us the opportunity to reflect on that. And not only reflect on it, but find ways to purpose, to execute our focus on those people that we usually pay absolutely no attention to. So please stay tuned, and I'll be right back after this message.
Get a world-class motivational speaker to your next event. Kristen Hester offers professional speaking services in Atlanta, Georgia, and beyond. To hire Kristen, visit www.kristenspeaks.com. Kristen.
Today, I am focusing on a philosopher by the name of Plato, specifically a quote that has been credited to him. And the quote simply states, "Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle." Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle. I have a story that I'll never forget. I was out one day, and I was heading to an appointment. And I'm one of those people, I try to leave an hour before I'm supposed to be somewhere, sometimes even an hour and a half or more, depending on traffic and how far out I'm traveling. But I like to give myself a lot of time because I don't like being right on time for meetings. I try my best to be early. So this was one of those days where I had very relaxed time for my appointment. So I went to a gas station, and I basically just wanted something to drink and a little snack because I wanted to kill some time because I was just that early. And I was really proud of myself on this day because sometimes, you can be annoyed when you're in the store and, people seem to be wasting time for no reason, or if you get the sense that the attendant is not being attentive to you, then you can get frustrated. So it was kind of one of those situations, but I was not annoyed. I really was in a positive frame of mind, and I feel like my mind was in the right place, the place that it needed to be for what I was about to witness. So I was next in line to check out at this gas station, and the lady behind the counter, she steps from behind the counter, and the person who was in front of me, she starts to hug this woman, and she's just hugging her. And you can tell she's being very, consoling, nurturing. And it went on for a few minutes, and I did want to check out with the items that I had, in hand to purchase. But I was very patient and I was very calm. And of course, I didn't know the full details. All I know is that the woman who was working there, she stopped what she was doing. She wasn't even concerned about, what was going on at the gas station at that time. And she focused all of her energy, all of her attention onto this woman. And, when she walked away, the woman who she was consoling and hugging, she said to me, she said, her father just died. And, something about hearing her say that and just watching how she loved on this woman. So, it took my mind to a place where, I'm fortunate and I'm blessed that I still have my mom and my dad with me. But as we always know, we never know who is going to leave first. That's something me and my mom say often. And if, my parents were to leave me behind, it's definitely not a day that I look forward to. But something about witnessing the kindness of this stranger, this woman who I believe owns this gas station, stopping, her focus on business to hug someone who desperately needed a hug in that moment. A day could come where you could be that person in the gas station. You could be that someone who is in desperate need of a random shoulder to cry on. One thing about pain, it has no respect for when it hits you. You could be in the gas station with people, who are annoyed and they just want to buy their gas, get their cigarettes and go. And I'm so glad I didn't have that hurried mindset in that moment. And I'm glad that I was just silent and patient, because one day somebody may have to do that same thing for me. Somebody may have to do that same thing for you. It's great when we can go to what's familiar. It's great when we can call our relatives and our close friends. But pain has no respect for when it can hit you. It can hit you at the most awkward, the most inappropriate time. And you would be thankful if you had enough people around who would stop long enough to understand that. To stop long enough, like this woman did in the gas station. Plato, he said it best. He says, be kind, because everyone you meet, they are fighting a hard battle. You out there listening, you could have your own battles that you are facing right this very moment. And checking out a podcast is an escape for you. Maybe listening to music is an escape for you. Working out even is an escape from the battle that you yourself are fighting. I'm sure some of you have heard this before. They say the best way to heal your depression is to try to help heal someone else's. And so basically, we can do that through a kind gesture. We can do that by taking ourselves off of our minds and replacing it with a focus on someone else. Many years ago, I was an undergrad student at Georgia State University. I was majoring in broadcast journalism, and we had a group project. And the group project related to us coming up with our own news story. We had to get our own video footage, and we had to write up our own story. And something that we decided to focus on related to a park that is close to Georgia State University. And interestingly, the name of the park is Hurt Park. All right. So with our story, we decided to talk about the fact that there are hurting people in Hurt Park. And there are a lot of homeless people who live in Hurt Park. And we wanted to do a story that highlighted some of the homeless who lived there in Hurt Park. And one guy I'll never forget, I can't forget it because I still have the VHS tape of my project from back then. But I was really inspired by a gentleman who I met who was living with AIDS. And even though we were just college students, and we were just trying to, hopefully get an A, us taking the time to stop and talk to him and giving him a voice for his pain, giving him a voice for his experience as a homeless person who was living there in Hurt Park. And really, by law, they weren't supposed to be living there, but that's a whole nother story. But that was his life experience. And us taking the time to share his story and to listen to his story, it meant more to him than we even realized as college students. Sometimes the random act of kindness is just kindness itself. It's nothing that you spend money on. It's nothing of a material value. But sometimes just being kind enough to listen, being kind enough to offer a hug to someone who needs a hug in that moment. Just being willing to listen, and to not only listen, but to amplify their voice by sharing the stories that they share with you of their pain, of their hardships with others. That is the kindness sometimes. We don't have to always limit everything to a monetary value. Our currency